Hey guys, check this out. I've got my voice back. My laryngitis is almost gone. I know that's exciting for me, but for you guys, you're gonna wanna see this. We're finally diving into this drill, putting some wrenching time on this thing. We're gonna make this horse avatar our own. Thanks guys for all the comments, emails on the last video there. I'm back, I'm getting better by the day now, and I can actually start wrenching on things. Kyle's on his way. My dad might be stopping by today too, but we're gonna actually start wrenching on this drill and making it our own. First order of business here is, well, what do we do with the drill when we have a bit of seed left in the hopper? A lot of guys, when you finish a field, you can merely just seed it out. Well, not always is that the case. As we found this year, there's a few times where we actually need to empty the big hopper, and it would be nice to drain the seed without dropping it on the ground. With it being the European Avatar from Germany, it is a dual gang 6.5 inch spacing. On the North American Avatar, where it's again a center tank design, it's a rear toolbar and one gang. So you have access to the metering rolls a bit better than this one. But we really wanted the 6.5 inch spacing. But with that being said, little things like draining excess seed are gonna take a little bit more time. And well, farmer ingenuity. So check this out. This is our plan for getting the leftover seed, those two windows there and there. At the bottom of the tank, we have a pretty clever and inexpensive to build design here. We're gonna empty that seed. That's first order of business, is get this little project out of the way so we can deal with the fun stuff. What we did is built this trough. It's gonna slide in underneath those doors and, well, give us a way to drain the drill of the remaining seed. This drill's so accurate on the seed that hopefully we can estimate within a few 100 pounds of when the field's gonna finish. But in those cases when we can't just seed out the seed, well, we can empty it out like this. And this is gonna save us a pile of time screwing around with bags and making a mess just by dropping it out the metering rolls. So this is in the home stretch. Let me do a couple more tweaks here. I'll show you how it works. Well, I figure I'm gonna actually just make a quick modification. The final spout at the end of the trough here, as you can see, I have adjusted the way it's bent and it's gonna connect to the upright here. I'm just gonna throw some double-sided VHB tape on it and bolt it together. It'll, I think long-term, just with leaking and rust and a few other things, this step here is gonna be appreciated in years' time, so I won't bother you with that anymore. But just like that, this project here, we're gonna have her licked. And as you can see, this 42-inch trough is going to transition into a smaller funnel here at the very end and actually give it quite a bit more rigidity. It was quite twisty and hard to handle. So this actually made it quite rigid and stiffened it up. And now this whole thing's going to be pretty flat and easy for one, maybe two guys. Just slide in quickly, get the bin empty and move on. Some pretty sharp corners on the edges of these. We've got a set of shears here that we've been using to make this thing. I'm just gonna round off these corners and prevent tetanus shots from being required. Some might say this is OCD or a little bit excessive, but I'm gonna take just some 1/4 inch fuel line here and put it over top of the leading edge. This edge is gonna get pushed into the bottom hopper of the drill, and well, over the course of time, I don't want all the powder coat scratched off of this drill. From the horse factory tour visit, we saw how much effort they go into to give you a good paint product to make it last a good long time. Well, I want it to last a good long time. I don't want to scratch that paint off where this is going to be pushed up against the drill. So 5 minutes and a couple pennies worth of hose, keep this drill looking good for the long term. You guys are probably thinking this is the most entertaining thing you've ever seen on Farming Ain't Easy, is this little job. I might agree with you. This is pretty darn cool stuff, but where we put this drill in some of our tractors on an annual basis and some of the trouble we get into there, it's interesting too, but come on. Does that not just look like a factory part? Come on. Anyways, let me get this in here and show you guys the finished product. Now, would you look at that? Fit like a glove. All right, let's get on to something more exciting for you guys. However, I kind of want to try this out, and I know there's a little bit of seed left in the bin. Yep, I'm trying it out. We're doing it, guys. Wasn't much in the front hopper. Let's check the back. Sounds like there's a little more pressure in this one. We're really doing it, guys. The dam is about to blow. Check it out. Fill in the bulk bag. That was awesome. I know this isn't the most exciting, craziest footage we've ever done, but you know what? Kind of goes back to the premise of this channel. Farming ain't easy. And you know what, in life and a lot of things I don't want to preach to you guys, but we got to celebrate the small wins. This is an incredibly small win right now in the scheme of the farm and everything that we do, let alone with our new drill, and just one of those things that's going to make our lives that little bit much easier in the spring when we have to do a clean out on the drill and we can't just seed everything out. This is a small win, but if you're to add up 100 small wins, you can accomplish big things. Well, Kyle, what do you think of the new trough? I tried it out. Last night and it worked.
Times I've been kind of saying it's like a kid in a candy shop, and lately that's what it's been like around here. This trough before would just make an absolute disaster, and all this seed would have to be picked up off the ground, or we would have like just a mess.
Our containment wasn't accurate. It
No.
had some leaks and some
Yes.
spills. This should work, eh?
Small but huge upgrade.
Anyways, let's get this trough out of here and the drill unfolded and off to the next small win. All right, so one of the other projects that we have is doing calibrations at night. This area is pretty dark. We got a light here shining us in the face, but we need to see the metering boxes, our scales, etc. So we've got this light. It's epoxy coated, or encapsulated LED strip. These are incredibly chemical resistant and impact resistant. Quite a high-end little light, and it's almost the perfect length to go underneath the walkway ladder. So when the walkway is extended, it's going to be shining down. It's a very widespread light. It'll easily shine in this area. Unfortunately, it's a 24 volt light, and we only have 12 volts on the drill. So we had to buy a step up transmitter or transformer, and we'll have to wire that in. But having a light right here is just going to make seeding at night that much easier. We want to stick it in here. We've used the 3M VHB tape on the back of it, but we're going to have to go over this somehow. Well, the light is slightly too long. It does give you an increment to cut it every 6 or 8 inches. Kyle and I were just debating whether or not just use standard side cutters or tin snips. We got to hit a pretty precise spot here. Nothing to it but to do it. Let's use the big scissors. That feels so wrong. Lick it and stick it. Let's get this thing on. The OCD in me does not like that at all, but we've got no choice. Sometimes it's just gonna be how it's gonna be. But having the light here is gonna be epic. Crawling on top of here, it's a bit of a tripping hazard to begin with, but just having the light for your tools, metering rolls, doing a calibration in the middle of the night, celebrating the small wins, eh? We're just gonna quickly hook this up to the 12 to 24 volt converter. Now that we've cut the lights, we want to make sure they still work, and we've adhered them in pretty permanently. Let's see if it works. Look at that. Kyle, maybe you should hit the lights on this side of the shot. Let's see how bright it is in the darkness.
See what we're working with.
Oh yeah.
Oh. I can see.
How's the light? I can't really see around the metering rolls. How is it?
That's exactly what we're trying to achieve. This whole area is lit up. You know what? We might even be able to have some of your wife's fresh homemade dinners here under this.
Oh, David and Kyle's midnight meal.
Midnight meals.
I'm all right with that. Let's do it.
Well, maybe we'll bring Smokey the cat.
Jeez, that silly cat. All right, let's wire this thing in permanently. All right, guys, this part's pretty exciting. We brought the drill into the shop to actually get to the bottom of our metering of annual ryegrass. We have been close to hitting our target. Like we were saying, aiming at 5 to 6 pounds and coming in at 7 to 8. Like we've been close. The small rates of grasses are harder to hit. And we thought we had every metering roll available from Horsch. And we learned, actually, in the last week since this drill's been in the shop, we were missing one. We have other 20 CCM rollers, but they are not in this, urethane or heavy plastic dimpled configuration. One other thing I'm going to mention was a problem, and this is our fault. Actually, Lucas Horsch was the one while we were in Germany that told us to check this out. There's a rubber flapper in here, and he said make sure that rubber is laying in its natural position. It's not got a kink or a groove or something in it. We ordered new rubbers, we've installed them, and now we're using them on this new roller, and it looks like we're going to be hitting our target. So watch this. All right, so just to make sure that we are of the utmost accuracy, we've got fresh certified batch of Italian annual rye from DSV North Star. We are going to weigh our calibration bag. Weighs exactly 2 pounds. Zero the scale. Put our calibration bag underneath the metering roll. So in case you guys aren't familiar with how easy the Horsch app is to use, fire it up on your phone, hit calibration. We're going to actually be a little harsh to the Horsch drill here and go to the lowest rate of annual ryegrass that we'll probably ever see, which is 5 pounds an acre. That'll be a hard target to hit, but let's see if it can do it. So we've hit our application rate of 5 pounds per acre. Oh, actually, I put the bag in too soon. Because we just put the new metering roll in, we actually have to fill the metering device. So the seed needs to actually fill around the metering roll. So we're just going to drop some seed on the ground. So essentially we've primed the metering roll. Hit start. As you can hear and as you can see, and the app will actually tell us that the seed is flowing. We're going to let this roll for about 1 minute. So it thinks we've put out 0.653 of a pound, and the scale's telling us 0.94. So I'm going to change it to 0.94. So I don't like to ever count on the first calibration. I always like to do it a second time, just in case there was ever a problem with the way the seed was flowing. So it was pretty close, but now that it's primed, let's try it one more time and see how close we actually are. We're going to let this calibration run for a little bit longer. I feel like the longer you let a calibration run, the more seed you can put through the metering unit, the more accurate your calibration is. So go, fast forward video editing. All right, we're going to call that good. We've got 3.5 pounds of theoretical weight in the calibration bag. We ran the calibration for 178 seconds, and the theoretical weight that the drill thinks it put out is 3.585. Let's see what the scale thinks. Okay, so the drill thought it put out 3.585, and the scale is 3.64. So very, very close. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna correct it with the actual weight. So 3.64, and hit the check mark, which is the apply button. And look at that. This new metering roll that we acquired from Horsch will say that it will hit our target anywhere between 1.16 mile an hour and 9.31 mile an hour. And our target speed, we can set whatever our target speed is, but let's just say 5.2 mile an hour. Hit the final check mark, which saves the calibration and exits it in the program. Thank you, Horsch. Thanks, Alberta Ag, for connecting all the dots, getting us in front of the right people, and getting us the right metering roll. Let's get on to the next project on this drill. So as you can see, to our knowledge now, we own every metering roll for the Horsch Avatar metering system. And part of this winter's project is to get them better organized. So we bought these Pelican cases and got them cut into the foam, so they're safe. There's a lot of money worth of metering rolls here. And this one's gonna get used as the toolbox on the front of the drill. And we're gonna buy a second one for the few metering rolls that don't need to travel with us. Usually when you're seeding and maybe going to a couple different fields with different crops, you know, we're gonna carry 3 or 4 options maybe for metering rolls. We don't need to carry this many. So like I say, this one's gonna get mounted to the tongue as a toolbox and metering roll storage. And we'll have one more to just keep safekeeping of the remaining metering rolls. There's a lot of money in metering rolls here. We don't want them bouncing around the floor of the truck again, like we were trying to be so careful with them this year. But all right, so we've decided this is the best Pelican case to use for the metering rolls and the toolbox that we want on the front of the drill at all times. But this ladder folds in and out, so we've got it pretty close to where we think it's going to be. Originally we were going to have it here, but when the ladder's folded in, we would not be able to open the toolbox. So if there's something we needed with the drill folded up, we wouldn't be able to get in the toolbox. So turning it 90 degrees and getting it behind the ladder, we'll be able to get into the toolbox with the drill folded up. So we're going to fire up the drill, or fire up the tractor, and just fold in the stairs really quick, just to make sure we can still get in the toolbox. Ooh, close. All right, that's where the toolbox is gonna get mounted to the drill. Just gonna center it left and right, but we have the confidence now to start drilling. Uh-oh, Kyle. We got a problem.
What happened? Oh, we got cutting oil.
I wet my pants.
Cutting oil everywhere.
That's actually not even cutting oil. I'm too cheap for that. I just use WD-40 and I keep it really wet. And these annular drill bits, I've had them for 8 or 9 years, and I just keep them really wet with WD-40, and they're still doing great. So a little cheaper and easier to apply than cutting oil. But you don't use this mag drill every day, but when you do, she's a gem. All right, holes are drilled. We got a piece of 1/8 inch rubber in between the frame of the drill and the toolbox. Nothing to it. Now just put some Loctite on the nuts and tighten them up. There, I think we just voided the warranty on a brand new Pelican case and a brand new Horsch drill. Who needs warranty, right? Well, that is a beautiful thing. We're probably going to use about 1/3 of this case for carrying a couple different metering rolls. The other 1/3, we're going to put a couple of the small Milwaukee pack outs to carry our shims and nuts and bolts, some of the little consumable things that we might lose or drop in the field or need replacements of. And then We'll have 2 of the little pack outs, one for the consumable small pieces, and then another for the tools, so that when we go and do a calibration or we're going to work on something, we'll have all of our tools in one spot. That'll leave us about 10 to 15% of the box for the calibration bags and the scale. So we'll not bore you guys with cutting the foam out and getting that figured out, but that's about everything that's going to live in this box. She is good to go. I don't know about you, but it feels like we've been videoing a lot today. I'm terrified that our editor is going to have 4 hours of footage to make a 10-minute video here, but things are coming along great on the drill. Thanks, Kyle.
We got the box mounted. We got calibration sorted out.
Calibration's figured out.
Got some lights installed.
LED strips are mounted. We got the trough finalized, verified working, and now we got to jump into cameras.
Paint film.
Yeah, we're going to put some paint protection film on there where things are rubbing, and we want this drill to continue looking new. And we got to do more of a mechanical check. We got to check bearings because it's a new drill to us. Well, it's a new drill, new to us as well, but we want to check torque on literally everything. We want to grease the rear wheels. So we probably got another day and a half worth of working on the drill, and we'll capture some of that footage. And if it works out, it might even make it into a video for you guys. So thanks for being here today, Kyle. Thank you guys for watching. And
as always, like, subscribe.
Yeah, like, subscribe.
Let us know if you like the content that we're putting out.
Hey, yeah, you guys have been great in the comment section, letting us know the kind of videos you want to see. So it's supper time.
Let's do it.
Let's eat. See you guys.